Hi guys, LENORMAND time. So this is going to be mid-May to mid of June. So this is actually one of my favorites, if not the favorite. My steady clients just like, do LENORMAND cat, please do LENORMAND. It kind of like tells you, hey, look left and look right. This is who might be anticipating what can happen. You know, with LENORMAND you get lots of things that you kind of like we hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst. And this is sort of like almost telling you kind of like, hey, jump over this, etc., etc. So also really quickly, the school is starting on the 15th. So last call for this, kind of like check my website, cattara.ca, and check kind of like the schooling schedule. The second thing, my speed up promotion is still on, which is awesome. Instead of 3 weeks, you kind of get a reading within a week. And I also upgraded Rush, so instead of 7, you get it in 3 days. And Urgent, which used to be 3 days turnaround, now you get it in 24 hours. So if you kind of like really want to get a reading, this is a really good time, because one thing that I miss in Canada is spring. We kind of transition from winter to the summer. So just a couple of weeks ago we had a snowstorm, and now my air conditioning is working like full force. So hence I'm going to be spending some actual time with myself and with my close ones in the summer. So kind of like try to squeeze in yourself in time. And so I also wished happy birthday and happy belated birthdays to all Tauruses, as well as the birthdays for Geminis, who will be also celebrating during this period. So without much further ado, guys, I also ask you to please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and all the best. Love you. Hi Cancer, and welcome to your May-June LENORMAND. So this is a general reading. There are like two main significators, the lady and the gentleman. They can be interchangeable and gender free, because after all this is a general reading. And again guys, if you really want me to do LENORMAND in your private reading, just when you fill the form, just put LENORMAND. So again, I'm reading the energy, so I'll be telling you a few storylines that I see here. It's kind of like always very intriguing when, well, things are sort of like very dynamic, like where not the one significant is on one side, and the other one's on the other side, because this kind of like gives me kind of like wild, wide and probably wild kind of like insight over here. So LENORMAND also is famous because you do see some cards, but they're also, let's say, hidden cards, because each of these cards has a certain house that actually belongs to them. So this is kind of interesting, because Mountain is one of those cards that you have this challenge in it, and it's Sinister 7, sort of like cards that can indicate challenges and difficulties, and you know, something that has to be obviously surmounted, right? It is falling in the house of the tree. So this is kind of indicating to me that some of you may have had or will have either health issues, or you'll try to deal with kind of like moving forward. It might even indicate a heart condition, to really be honest. It can actually talk about lungs as well. Now, I would say that there was like something that you have been doing in a while. I don't know, like this health theme is really jumping at me, because the lilies can indicate hospitals and emergencies. The trees definitely the health, kind of like striving, spending time in the nature, kind of like growth, right? And on top of that, the mountains in the house of the tree, right? So I would really say that maybe this entire year you are already spending and paying attention to how you basically conduct yourself, who you're cleaning not only your physical well-being but your emotional well-being, where you are kind of like discarding probably the people, you're turning them kind of like back and erasing them from the lists if they don't measure up. And I think that some of you really minimized your kind of like your dance list to basically to the basics, where you just like simply want your family, your safety. And because they're two significators, like one of you, so one stream of you cancers will be like really like feeling on top of the world, and hence this mountain is going to feel like, ugh, kind of like, why is this happening? What is that I need to challenge? But think about it, whenever we kind of like run in a problem in life and we resolve this, the next time we have this, we sort of like already have a system or a method where how do we go about this, like, right, like let's say tax issue. You already kind of like knew how you went about it and how this ended and where you went wrong and where you went right. So you always become bigger than their problems, and this is why problems are really good, and each time you go really high and higher, because this is telling me that you will resolve this problem really well. It might be some issues ahead that could be of a legal nature, that could be of a financial nature. Maybe there is like some kind of settlement that was angering you for quite a while that kind of like needs to be looked upon, but that still kind of like has kind of like certain time to go. You see, this is sort of like a blocking card where you kind of like feel that, you know, like the Energizer Bunny, like if you're holding it and it just like spins like this little kind of drum and stuff, but it's like really staying in a spot, sort of like you really want to go, you do feel this energy, you feel energized, you feel loving, you just like buzzing, but then something is keeping kind of like there, something is difficult to surpass, right? It could be simply that somebody in your environment can feel like cold and aloof, right? But as a person that can represent somebody who's very persistent, maybe like it's where's the mice here? Yeah, it could be somebody who has sort of like a nagging kind of like thing. You might be dealing also with somebody who is either blonde or gray hair, white hair, salt and pepper, or even somebody who is balding, who kind of like is for some reason making you wonder kind of like what to do, because then on top of that you have the crossroads right underneath here, and this is kind of like, in which direction do you go? How do you kind of like handle the situation? What kind of like do you do with it, that something karmic is coming to you? So this is fox and bear. It could be even something connected to work. Maybe you actually met somebody at work, and or maybe looking here for a new job and are maybe even applying for it, because this kind of like here absolutely can indicate this. And then of course let's look into some really awesome things that will happen, right? I see the house in the house of the heart, right? So you're in a house of the house, so like sort of like home is where the heart is. You sort of are, in spite of maybe issues coming in your way, really kind of like domesticated this time around. You may have been going through this like really energized period, but it's almost going to kind of like tame you a little bit, kind of like figuring out how to, how to kind of like really enjoy yourself. I would say it's going to be house and work, and okay, so maybe looking into how do you generate more money, maybe looking for a new job. I absolutely see that. If you guys are applying for a new job, that's going to be maybe not necessarily this absolute good fit, but it's going to bring extra money and you will get it, right? You might actually, I can see over here as well, some kind of like smart aleck kind of type of a person, or somebody who could be even a little kind of like, let's call it sneaky, kind of just minding their own interest in business, where they're representing themselves as if, they're like such a big, great benefactors. But I think you'll be able to see through it. And it's like somebody who is like too smart for their own good, like they are so arrogant that they're not able to see that you kind of like so right through them, right? So definitely Cancers, you'll be enjoying yourself this month, even though certain things will not progress with the speed as you would like. You're going to be where exactly you need to be, because looks like there's going to be a joy in the smaller things, going to be conversations, going to be kind of like, do I go backward, your Cancer, or do I go forward? Both solutions might feel kind of weird and kind of difficult. Just this kind of looks like it's going to be kind of like step aside and looking at a possibility, thinking through possibilities, and like a chess player, not only thinking the immediate move, but if I take this road, what happens after this and this and this and this? Where do I end up? Kind of like you're going to look like a chain reaction of your things. And if I do this, how would this and this and this person feel? Because sometimes we do that out of with the best interest in mind, and the other people can misinterpret this, right? And like it's nothing wrong with just being true and authentic to yourself. But I think you're going to add an extra layer over here and sort of like improve yourself. Because the birds sometimes have kind of like that gossipy component in them, especially because they're in the house of the mountain. So I'm wondering if, and maybe I have to warn you, be very careful who you say, because you don't know who knows who, especially if you're starting a new job, or you're laying down any kind of, let's say, accusations. That's kind of going to be very prominent over here in kind of quality discussion, let's say. But something is really kind of getting cleared. You're almost reaching the point, and you'll be going through that for the next while. It's going to be, I would not even say bittersweet, because most of the time you're going to be sunny and happy, and the sun is in the house of the men. If you're like wanting to date, I guess the door is open. I just like really don't think you will want to too much. It almost looks like you will be so dedicated, because the heart is in the house of, no, this is a dating. You might also find somebody who date somebody who has a child, or sort of like pay attention to somebody. So that's kind of like one of those corollaries to this kind of rule. Maybe you would not feel like dating, but since you're like such kind of like maternal and paternal and kind of like love children, like people will really gravitate to you, and you actually will meet somebody who is like really, really amazing and who is available. And it could be very much unlike the people you actually met in your past. It could be actually a foreigner as well, to be really clear with you. But I see like a strong possibility of the fact that a person has a child. I mean, we have these kind of like indications all over the place. And somebody who have been going through maybe kind of like rough patch in their life, but this is kind of like going to give you a newfound zest, or maybe a new friend. It's kind of like you have the dog in the house of a tower. You might even meet somebody in a business meeting, or in a gym, or like it's going to be almost like a group meeting, that you are not going to go Tinder, like this, like that kind of like, oh, you know, he has nice eyes, I'll marry him, kind of stuff like that. Not you this time around. It might be sort of like more organized, like sort of like dating of a group, kind of like group event, and see what happens. So I think they'll like meet up, kind of like dating kind of schedules, and it's kind of like more organic way to find somebody. So Cancer, to get your own reading, please contact me at cattarot.ca, and please subscribe, like, and share. And I really hope to see you soon, and love to read your comments. So until the next time, love you to death. Bye.